tell me, what are your thoughts on the Rams? Because I think everyone's kind of all over the board. I think more so this year, people are willing to buy in the Rams as a legit contender in the NFC. But there's been years past where it's like, I don't know. But I feel like Stafford has had this. He's had a really good, I guess, reputation in football Twitter that this guy is so much better than his surroundings. And if he just gets to like a Niners or, a Rams or, with Belichick or like, we're just naming them off. Like if he gets to a better situation, he could really take that next step. And he's already like a top 10 quarterback. So what are your thoughts on the LA Rams in 2021?
Well, first of all, they got a huge improvement at the quarterback position. I think Matthew Stafford has been hotly debated. I know a lot of people feel differently about him. It's like, he couldn't win in Detroit, but I mean, you think about all the different coaches he went under and all the different things he had to deal with, and losing a Hall of Fame receiver so abruptly, and just the many things that the Lions did over the years that wasn't necessarily conducive to winning. I mean, I think he's going to be really great for the Rams. And to me, I think what's going to be important is that the Rams have a running game. I think people don't talk about that enough. They have a running game. They have a very creative and unique mind at head coach and calling plays. Now you can really open up the playbook and do the things that you may have wanted to do over the last couple of years. You finally get that quarterback that he doesn't have to be a top 5 quarterback. You may not even think he's a top 10 quarterback, but he's a hell of a good starter. He's a very valuable piece. So that's the first thing that sticks out in my mind. I really like what they did with the draft. I know that people are like, I think the one pick that everyone like is like, whoa, oh God, I had a loud bang there from Thunder. My bad.
But no, I mean, what you're bad. What are you supposed to do?
I don't know. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Everyone was talking about Tutu Atwell, and they didn't love the pick. To me, I think the Rams draft kind of philosophy has been interesting. I know Jordan Rodriguez for The Athletic does a great job covering the Rams and what they do. I was so intrigued by the draft process. Like I'm like, they do so many things with analytics and different things like that. To me, I'm not even worried about who they're selecting guys and where they're selecting them at. I know that Tutu Atwell is kind of an anomaly, his size, whatnot. But to me, you got to have speed. That's a premium. And to me, it's so important. That's why the Saints had Deontay Harris. That's why they use him in so many different ways. You got to be able to stretch the defense. I think that's so important because then you're allowing guys to have one-on-one, coverage on the outside. You still have Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods are two of the more, I think, solid receivers. It's a really solid receiving room in general. I love what the Rams have in a receiving room. You add Tutu Atwell, and then the pick that I was like, yeah, they did something with this one. It was Jacob Harris out of UCF, someone that I kind of watched later in the process that really popped off because of his speed and his length and his athleticism. He's going to make an impact immediately, and I know that people are like still holding out hope for Bryson Hopkins and some of the other guys, but I'm telling you what, when you have someone of that speed, that height, and that ability, you're going to throw them on the field. You're going to find a way to get them on the field. And that's not even including they have Van Jefferson and some of those other guys, too, that are going to continue to emerge. And now you have a Hall of Fame potential quarterback. I think, Matthew Stafford may push forward by the time he ends his career. Then all of a sudden, your offense becomes that much more dynamic. And all of a sudden, you're looking at maybe a better version of the 2018 Rams, the offense that, went toe-to-toe with Kansas City on a Monday night, and now you have so many more possibilities. You got a potential bell cow at running back in Cam Akers, and he's going to only continue to get better. He can be a part of that passing game. So now I'm really excited about the Rams offense. You know, the defense, I think it's gonna handle itself. I mean, you have Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. Those are two of the best guys, best players in NFL. Arguably, they're easily the best at their position, without a doubt. You know, and then to me, the thing for me is like I take personal things out. Like obviously, I'm a Saints fan, you know, and we know what happened in the past, but when I'm looking at football and just looking at everything, I take that bias out because to me, they hit on their draft picks, you know, especially the later round guys. Like bet on their day 3 picks. You know, they do a really good job developing them. You know, and one that sticks out in my mind is Jordan Fuller. You know, a lot of people just thought he was going to be a special teams guy, you know, maybe at the end of the roster. And all of a sudden he's starting early on in the season. He's making big plays. So for me, I like what the Rams are doing. You know, I think they're getting to a point where they're trying to really build the depth and whatnot. I mean, and I look at some of the other picks they made. Robert Rochelle was one of my favorite FCS prospects. Chris Garrett is someone that I loved a lot. Like I actually got to sit down and do an interview with him. And I knew he was going to be a guy that gets drafted. You know, I know that people are looking at the D2 and he's like, okay, you know, you're playing D2 competition. He can be something in a few years as well. So the Rams are really doing a lot of good things long term. I think obviously the biggest question mark will be that offensive line and how consistent they can be. I think that's going to be key to how far they can go. But I'm not going to be one that doubts the Rams. I think they're definitely a playoff contender, and you know if things really work out, they could push for a potential NFC Championship game appearance in just year 1 of what they can do. So I'm excited about what the Rams are doing. I like what they're doing draft philosophy wise, and they're just continuing to build up their team. I mean, if you think about the receivers they have, the tight ends they have, I mean, if they even get an ounce of the potential they can be, I mean, they're one of the best groups in the NFC at least, you know, and being able to have that creative play caller, then all of a sudden you have, you know, you could have a trip side, one side, you have Cooper Kupp in the slot, Jacob Harrison between Robert Woods, and then Van Jefferson backside 1-on-1. Then all of a sudden it's like, how are you going to defend that? You know, so it gets real. You can get a lot of different, you know, perspectives, a lot of different formations, but you know, when it comes down to it, the Rams are they're building something really good, and I would definitely tap in and stay tuned for what the Rams are going to do, because they've upgraded at premium positions and they're building depth. So I got a lot of respect for what the Rams are doing.